Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to Myth Busting Mondays. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen, because for the final myth of today's episode, this one's a doozy, but I think you guys will like it nonetheless. The final myth is going to end up being, can Whitaker launch cars or dumpsters when he uses his grenade launcher? Because as we all know, in Left 4 Dead, you can launch things like the cars in the dumpster, but it's usually things like the special infected. So if we go to Dead Center and we put things in his way, like for example next to the exploding truck, would that cause the game to end up freaking out and just send cars everywhere in the entire map? It will be probably a really cool thing to see, and I really am curious to see what the final results will be. If you guys end up enjoying today's video, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and all that beautiful stuff. With all that being said, guys, I hope you end up enjoying this week's episode of Myth Busting Mondays. Myth: can you throw a gas can or a propane tank at a stalker mid-air and stop it from grabbing you? Alright guys, so myth number 1 was submitted in by Tyler. Now in order to really get this myth done, since Back 4 Blood doesn't have any mods, we decided to go into versus mode because there is some maps that do indeed have gas cans and jerry cans. So we did luckily find a couple on the times that we did load in, and I was playing as a survivor, or Tyler was, and we were just rotating and taking turns. Now in Left 4 Dead, the jerry can and the propane tank can do some weird things with collision. Most notably, the most infamous one and the most shocking that I still think to this day is being able to break a tank rock with a jerry can. But in Back 4 Blood, the jerry can and the propane, just the animation in general of chucking it seems more stiff than in Left 4 Dead, so the idea of trying to block anything with this is going to end up being tedious. However, despite our bad luck, we did end up having a really good attempt here in this one game that you're about to see, where we did manage to get a decently solid result. So here goes the best attempt. This is going to be the exact same game, with Tyler being the infected this time and me being the survivor throwing the propane tank at him. You guys are not only going to see from Tyler's perspective, but especially mine, that the propane tank does indeed connect. It's just that what happens is that when the propane tank connects, it basically will phase through him, essentially as if he was intangible. So that means that myth number 1 here is going to end up being busted, and now we move on to myth number 2. Myth: can you duck a tank punch in Left 4 Dead 2? Alrighty guys, myth number 2 is submitted in by a true winner 1, and he wants to basically know if you can do the opposite of what we tested as a final myth from a couple episodes back about whether or not that you could jump over a tank punch. So we're back here again on The Last Stand, and we're just going to be doing pretty much the exact opposite of what we did, where what we found out was that if you stand on a elevated area, such as a staircase, you can pull it off and jump over a tank punch. But what happens if you try to duck a tank punch? Now for this myth, unlike the one we were trying to jump over a tank punch, we wanted to see if you could do a couple of other bonus things, such as if you need to stand still, or if you could run, or if you need to use cover to avoid the tank punch and duck underneath of it. And one of the main things that I want to point out real quick with this myth is that the tank's punch radius is very, very powerful. He can end up hitting you from areas that would feel like that you should not be hit from. But eventually, as we always do, we managed to find a result that we were happy with, and this was kind of like the sweet spot that you really need to be on the stairs. And you guys are going to see that Tyler does a last-second jerk reaction trying to duck, and from the exact same spot, when he's standing up this time, the tank is going to swing at him once again, and it does hit him. Now what this does mean is that the myth is indeed now plausible, but I wouldn't say it's anything more than plausible. The reason why I would say that this myth is not quite confirmed, even though you can indeed do this, is because of one main reason, and that's because there is so little things in Left 4 Dead that allow you to go lower into the ground and therefore be able to pull something like this off. And unfortunately, it's not something as simple as just giving the tank the high ground and now all of a sudden the player should be able to duck the tank's punch. Because what happens is that you need to also be within range of the tank punch to begin with in the first place, and a lot of areas in Left 4 Dead where you're going to end up being underneath of the tank, you are also further away from the tank punch to begin with, which means that you can't even get hit by it in the first place. So the main thing that keeps this myth from being confirmed is going to be just the way that the maps are just designed, because you're more likely to be in a position where you can jump over a tank than duck underneath of a tank. So at the very most, I'm only comfortable with labeling the myth at plausible, because unlike the jumping one, where you could easily replicate that time and time again just the way the maps are designed, the ducking part is going to be so far and few in between that at the very least, I'm really comfortable with labeling it at plausible. Myth: if you jump off the map with the bombs to blow up the boat on the Devil's Return, will the mission fail? Alright guys, myth number 3 is submitted in by Glabursko, so all we're going to do is just load up the finale on Evansburg, or the Devil's Return, and we're just going to be picking up both C4s because we're in multiplayer where there's 2 of them, and just have Tyler and Glabursko jump off the map. So here they go, they're going to jump off right now, so there goes Glabursko, and then shortly after is Tyler, and as you guys can see from my perspective, the C4 came back and ended up teleporting right back to the bridge. So that means that this myth is going to also be busted. You cannot take the C4 with you when you're jumping off the map, and you cannot lock other people from achieving a victory on this map. Myth: can you stop a breaker storm effect by using a flashbang? Okay guys, so for myth number 4, this is going to be submitted in by Nitwit. Now the flashbang is a very useful piece of equipment in Back 4 Blood. I think it's one of the very best, probably like a top 3. And I think that the flashbang, especially if you can upgrade it, is a really, really good way of keeping special infected off of you. So if we use flashbangs on the breaker, is it strong enough as a grenade to be able to stop the breaker from creating that annoying storm effect that he does, where he ends up trapping you in kind of like a Fortnite storm circle and calling a whole bunch of infected on you? Because I'm pretty sure everybody would love to stop playing a game of hardcore Tickle the Pickle with a special infected and just get back to the normal game. Here is going to end up being footage from when Tyler ended up playing a game by himself and submitted my way, where he encountered a breaker and he had a egregious amount of flashbang grenades. And what happened was that the moment that he threw them at the breaker and just started laying into him with the shotgun, the bots also joined in and they took out a crap ton of his health. So much so, they were able to kill him literally before he could even do anything. He just jumps in and died. And the main reason why that this was successful is because flashbangs in Back 4 Blood can stack upon themselves. So regardless of the rarity, they can end up giving you a lot more time than if you just had a single flashbang by itself. When all is said and done, this myth right here is going to end up being confirmed. You can use the flashbangs to stop the breaker storm, so pile up on flashbangs and get killing. Alrighty guys, final myth time. So once again, the final myth is going to end up being, can Whitaker's grenade launcher on the 2nd chapter of Dead Center be able to launch cars and dumpsters flying, essentially creating a whole bunch of chaos? So let's move over to the map and let's see what's what. Myth: can Whitaker send cars and dumpsters flying by using his grenade launcher? Alrighty guys, the final myth of the episode is going to be submitted in by Star. So Star, thank you for submitting your myth our way, my G. And now we're going to be seeing whether or not it's possible for Whitaker's grenade launcher to wreak havoc. Now I just want to let you know that, by the way, we are only testing the cars because we were not able to find dumpsters within our admin menus to be able to spawn them in. So it's going to be only one half of the myth, so I hope you understand, Star. But we're still going to be testing out the car feature and giving you a very detailed result nonetheless. Alrighty guys, so here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Here comes Whitaker. And wow, holy crap, yeah, the cars went flying. They flew so much, actually, that the one car that Tyler was looking at completely flew out of the map and over a building. So I believe it's safe to say that the final myth is going to end up being confirmed. You can use Whitaker's grenade launcher to send cars flying and wreak absolute beautiful chaos on Dead Center. Alrighty guys, so that's going to be another episode of Myth Busting Mondays, but don't click off quite just yet, my friend. I still have a couple things I would like to share with you because sharing is caring. I just want to let you guys know that if you have your own myths that you would like to have be featured in a future episode, please by all means submit them my way. You can either submit them by putting them in the comment section down below or using a custom Myth Busting Mondays tab that I have on my Discord channel, which is going to be linked down below in the description. So please share some myths my way. I would really love to see what you guys come up with, and who knows, you might be the final myth in a future episode. In addition to that, guys, I would also appreciate if you guys could drop a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all that beautiful stuff. And finally, if you guys would like to financially support the channel, I would tremendously appreciate if you guys could go check out my Patreon, which is linked down below in the description. Use my supporter creator code BlackNinja797 in all caps in the Fortnite Epic Games item shops, because Epic's my very first sponsor, and they were sponsoring today's video, so shout out to Epic Games. And lastly, I want to let you guys know that I started a business. It's called Breakthrough Business. With Breakthrough, I'm going to be making a whole bunch of psychology-themed courses that will allow you guys to be able to improve things about your character, your mental health, and also your relationships. All this brand new content is going to be available at mastermind.com, which is going to be linked down below in the description. And already within mastermind.com, I have my very first course live for you guys, which is going to be called The Courageous Man Blueprint: How to Achieve Unbreakable Confidence for Young Men. I wanted to create something that would not only give you, but also your loved ones, massive value within your lives, because I know exactly how it feels to have low confidence because I originally suffered from that myself. When I was first growing up and I was becoming an adult, I didn't have a lot of confidence, and I felt like that the world was always out to get me, and I realized that that was wrong, and that I was able to achieve what I wanted and be successful, and I learned from the best of the best, and now I want to share that knowledge with you. So if you're going to take the time to look at something on the internet today, why not take a look at something that could change your life for the better? But with all that being said, everybody, I hope you ended up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers we're ever going to see. Thanks for watching, guys. I love all of you, and peace out.
Hey, meme lords. Jesus here. And you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too. And give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!